What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Debaters. And this week we will be going through our proudest gaming achievement or moment, and the debate this week will be what would make the best Telltale game. And this one was requested on our Discord server, link in the description, by Mel. So if you want any other questions to be answered or anything you'd like to see us fight over, do put it down in the comments or our Discord server, and we will pick it up if we think it's a good one, and we did. So let's go into the Icebreaker.
The Icebreaker.
This week we're going through our proudest gaming achievement or moment. So sometimes you're gaming and you have something you're like, I'm proper proud of that, me. And so we want to share it. Rob, how you doing, man? How are you this week?
I am jovial. I think
Very
that's the word to use. I'm very jovial this week. Last week I was really moody, but this week I'm very jovial.
You change your moods. I'll tell you. So we all know you like to keep your feelings right out in the open, and so sometimes you've had some gaming moments. What are you proudest of?
I went on a caravan holiday, and I was extremely bored at night because I don't sleep much at night, and I was with a family that went to bed at 9, so I got very bored at nights, and
whose family? Hello, strange family.
I know, no comment. But we, I got all of the Riddler trophies in Arkham Knight, and that took a fucking lifetime, and that was a holiday. I don't want to say well spent, but when I got that last one, I was out at half erect. So
just a semi. Yeah, I've heard difficult things. Geordie,
there you go.
What are you proud of in your gaming life?
I'm proud of the moment which I actually shared with the Twisted Bard YouTube channel and all of our 252 subscribers. When I completed Time Splitters 2 with Uno Lifo.
Yeah, that was right. You're one of the very early One Life reviews. I think episode maybe 4 or 5, if that.
5.
Yeah, that was a good One Life review. Do check that out at youtube.com/twistedbargaming. If you like it, subscribe.
I can't recommend it. We were terrible. We were terrible back then. Watch them now.
I mean, I wasn't in that one.
It's taken over a year, and we're okay at them now.
Was I the first one?
You were the first completion.
You were my first.
Our first.
I was first. It showed how good I had become because I had played it for my entire life.
See, that is getting through a game of One Life is something to be very proud of. Some pride that I've never felt before. Soon.
You couldn't even beat Brave, mate.
I couldn't beat Brave,
mate.
I was so close. Paddy, what is your proudest gaming achievement? Let the people know.
I'm not proud of it, but I have the Skyrim Platinum Trophy. That took so many hours. Many.
Have you got all the achievements and equivalents on the Xbox and
Switch?
No.
So I don't have the Platinum Trophy on the PS. Oh no, maybe I do. I might have it twice on 2 different consoles. That fucking game, man.
You've got to be so proud of yourself.
That fucking game. But it's a big game, so to get everything in it was it's a labor of love, maybe. Yeah,
that does require a lot of work. I would have to say mine happened very recently, and it's one that both Rob and Paddy were witness to. It was the 3 of us in a game of Siege. It went down to 5 versus 1, and I panicked my way through to saving the hostage and taking out half their team.
Yeah, that was really good.
By dangling from a window and running into people. I was proud of that because I panicked the entire way and survived. It was. I've never been so calm under pressure.
I could hear the breathing coming down the mic.
It was very intense.
In the zone you were.
The three survivors were circling around the house, and I just ran from window to window.
I feel this is a story that ends with my penis being out at half erect again.
Is it ever not?
As all the best tales do.
As all the best stories about us.
Well, you've learned. I think now you've learned a little bit more about us, how we pride.
Maybe a little bit too much.
Probably too much about Rob, but how we pride ourselves. Everyone else was like getting through a hard game or doing an arduous task. Mine was just surviving and panicking my way in some calm sense. So that probably says a lot about me. Well, that's the icebreaker done. So let's move on to the mass debate.
The mass debate.
So this week we go through what would make the best Telltale game. So the Telltale games, the ones that are story-driven, you make your choices, a few of them have come out, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, I think a few others, Batman, I think it's got a series, well-known ones, and we are going... There are so many Batmen! The Batmen! So we are going to try and figure out what other series, book, movie, game, film, whatever would make the next best one. And this question was requested by Mel on our Discord server, as I said earlier, so do join us on the Discord, link in the description, and let us know, either in the comments or in our Discord, if there are any questions you want us to know. So let's continue with the master debate, and Rob, what thing do you think would make the best Telltale game? I don't really... Media, yeah.
Well, I've gone for an obscure choice, which my whole pitch was based on the fact that the other two were going to go first. But
I'm switching up, Rob. You know this. Keep on your toes.
Oh.
It's Black Mirror.
Yeah, well, at least we've got the thing up. All right, that's your pitch, all right? Great. Brilliant pitch as always, Rob. Well prepared. Jordy, what is your series that's going to be the best?
I went with one that it's actually one of my dream games, and one that I hope they do, one that I've always hoped they do, and that is James Bond.
Oh.
Because I think a James Bond series would just be perfect for them, because it's got consequences and choices, and you can have an interrogation, and you can choose what not to say, and that will have consequences, and the series can be one sort of villain arc, basically. So like a film you're watching.
Interesting. I mean, it's a good games and movies, so it couldn't make a Telltale game. I'm sure will be argued out. Paddy, what is your choice? You have time to prepare.
Well, Telltale have a kind of they're pretty good at taking an established franchise and telling their own stories in that universe. So they've done that with Batman, they've done it with The Walking Dead to great effect. So I would like to see Telltale do something in the Star Wars universe. Pretty much tell their own original story. I think, so much about that world lends itself to what they do so well. So character-based, character-driven stuff. I'm hoping that Disney is seeing that partnering with EA is a terrible decision, and that they should throw their games out to a wider group of people. But I just think there's so much that they can, that they can do in that world. They could be a really cool, I don't know, Boba Fett game, or Jabba the Hutt. The Telltale Jabba the Hutt game, where you become the leader of the Hutt clan. Anyway, there's just so much that they can do in that world. It's such a fantastic, interesting world, and I think the sort of that janky dirtiness of Star Wars, because it's not this despite what the prequels tried to do, it's not this glamorous, space world. I think that fits in quite well with their style and what they could do. So yeah, Star Wars.
I think you're just more desperate to try and get out of the hands of EA than anything, aren't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
let my people go.
Those are two good pitches and a good idea.
Oh.
I'm not.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It had no picture. It had no picture. So we'll see what Rob can do in the actual fight. So now I'll put it out to the three bards, and they will argue until I tell them to stop, and I will make a random decision. I'll just literally pick a name somewhere. May not even be one of the games, and I'll declare that as the winner, as I always do. So fight.
Can we hear Rob's pitch first, so we know what we're arguing against?
Why would you help him?
You're arguing Black Mirror. You're arguing against the TV series Black Mirror.
Rob's game has no story, so.
What are you on about? It has no story. It has loads of individual stories. Just because it's not a long story doesn't mean it's not a story.
You haven't told us any of them.
What do you mean? I haven't told you. You haven't told me what the story is in yours. We didn't have to tell you the story.
But
it's misogyny. It's misogyny. The game. Do I boink blondie or boink brunetti?
Right. Okay. So the reasoning behind this, right? The whole reason why I've gone down the Black Mirror road is Telltale is a failing developer. They are cutting back staff, and their games are losing money. They've signed up for these huge, big series and stuff that. They're all pretty good, but they're all just the same formula repeated over and over again, which I know some people are really into and really into Telltale games, but you'll find the audience for the Telltale games are starting to drop. So they need to do something new. And that's why I thought go to something like a Black Mirror, which is like a modern day a Twilight Zone, where it tells all these individual well-crafted stories that at the end of each story sweeps the carpet out from under your feet and twists it on your head and make you go, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, I didn't really expect that. And then obviously towards the end,
fucking miserable. Oh, that's fucking miserable. Oh,
and
that's fucking miserable. Oh, that's fucking miserable. Oh, that's fucking miserable. 4 seasons of fucking misery.
And that's the exact point. That's the exact point that the reason why I went.
Not
for
enough people are playing our
Mirror.
games. We shall make them all depressed for them to come back.
The exact reason why I've chose a Black Mirror, and the reason why your games won't be as good, is because the joy in a Telltale game is the joy through choice and the consequences of that choice. Now, Black Mirror does a great job exploring these grey areas between what is right and what is wrong. And that's the whole crux of Black Mirror, and that's what lends itself.
There's no reason why they couldn't do that in a Star Wars game.
Hang on.
No reason why they couldn't do that in any Star Wars game.
The whole crux of a Star Wars game is the fight between the dark side and the light side.
It doesn't have to be.
Very clear.
It doesn't have to be.
But that's what Star Wars is.
It doesn't have to be. It's the universe. It's the universe.
Well,
Like,
what's that?
it's
that's
the
what
universe.
Star
It could be
Wars is.
anything they want. It doesn't have to be
If you don't have a
Jedi
Star
is good,
Wars,
evil.
if you don't have a Star Wars that
Have you
includes
seen
a
Rogue
good
One?
versus light. Yes, I have, and that's the exact same thing.
Well, it's not good
It's
against
exact
evil.
same.
It's just a
These
bounty
are your
hunter
good guys. These are your bad guys. These do good things. These do bad things.
Exactly.
There's
So
no
they
grey
have
area.
the opportunity to tell an intriguing story within the Star Wars
But
universe.
I'm saying that
And
it's broken
same with
already.
James Bond.
It's a thing that my series is already built well fit for the choices, and the fact that what Telltale enjoyed to do is they like to give people choices where there is no a clear choice of right and wrong. There's no a distinguishable choice.
But they could do that in anything except James Bond. I don't think you can do that in James Bond because he is the winner.
Yeah.
He is the good guy. Like,
He is,
you know, if
infallible.
he is the established. You know,
Yeah.
that's
maybe
why they flip it
like.
on the head.
And
I
what,
definitely
is
say that.
is James
I definitely
bad?
would
Doesn't
agree
have
with.
to be.
I definitely
They
would
can-
agree
No,
with you.
James Bond.
Paddy,
James Bond
that-
does have to be. I
that
think
you'd have more
I'm
scope to
saying
play with
the
it in Star
entire
Wars than
Star
what you
Wars
would.
universe and do whatever the fuck you want with it. And you know, if we're talking about a studio that's failing and not doing so well, don't you think like probably the biggest IP on the planet would be a decent thing for them to have to get a few people in? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's, you know, it's
It's
very...
not like they haven't had huge IPs before.
Yeah, okay.
That-
But
the huge
Walking Dead,
IPs are the
Walking
things
Dead
that
isn't
are
close to Star
the things.
Wars.
The
in
huge
terms of
IPs
IP.
are the things that are killing them. It's becoming such a thing where they're signing up for so many of these big contracts that they've just stretched it, and that's why they managed to lose a lot of the really good writing staff, I think, and I think that's why they're going really down the pan. This is why you need to change it rather than. I mean, it's the old thing that if you do the same thing over and over. What's the definition? A lot of insanity. That thing. That guy says in that game.
It's that one.
If you do the same thing again, you're doomed to fucking
If you
fail.
do the same thing over
Try
and over
something
again,
new.
but
Try
expect
something,
different
and
results.
Yeah,
Black Mirror is a brilliant.
Einstein.
super niche, right? Like I don't know if that's the and you'd need a really fucking good writing crew for that. Like if they've lost all their good people,
absolutely.
that's tough. But I think like I agree with you that they've taken on way too much, but considering where Star Wars is right now, people would go nuts for like a really story based, 100% fully story focused.
We're not
like
arguing
Telltale.
about what is going to.
Yeah, but you're predicating.
sell them most.
You're
We're
predicating
arguing what's
your
gonna make
argument
the
on.
best
You're predicating
video
your argument
game.
on what's going to save the studio.
So
Basically.
what would their
massive Star Wars
Black
game would
Mirror
do
game
that.
be based on? Which story would it be? An original
It
story?
would be just the same as a series. You'll have 5 original individual stories that all have their individual point that you make choices inside of each of those individual stories that impact the game as you go through, and then you have a final episode quite similar to the final episode of like the last series, which I won't spoil, but in a way brings all the
please don't,
stories
I
into
haven't
one
watched it
place. Yeah, I know, but in a way all they do is bring all the stories into one place, and that's the point where you get the payoff for all your choices. The problem with the Telltale games is they have to stick so close to this series arc like narrative by the fact they're telling a single story through 5 episodes. That really you just get the illusion of choice as opposed to actual real choice. The
Yeah, and
story
to be
still
honest,
pans
like
out the
I
same.
100% agree with you. Like for that argument in terms of like what the way like The Walking Dead, the first season, it's going to end that way no matter what you do. I 100% agree that they need to try and do something a bit more
But
open-ended. But
surely
they could have done anything they wanted for that. They made that narrative choice. But for me, like the one like what you really sounds like you're arguing against, and I think you're 100% right is the James Bond version, because that this is how it starts, this is how it ends. The good guy is going to win at the end. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's going to win at the end of the next season or the next season. Like that is how
it
that
would be
works.
quite
It is
interesting to be James Bond.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
100% agree. But Rob makes a good point about them needing to do something a little bit different. So whether that's taking one of the most beloved franchises, which in gaming terms, people are desperate for anything good Star Wars games. And then being like,
true.
you know what, fuck you. We're not doing Jedis, we're not doing Sith, here's this motherfucker who lives on this planet and shit's gonna go down. And
here's
it's gonna
a mobile game.
You're a mobile game. And it's gonna, it's all gonna, they're gonna tell a great story, and people would go, I think, nuts for that. For me, like that formulaic, oh, let's try Tales from the Borderlands. Oh, let's try Game of Thrones. Oh, let's try. That sounds a lot more like the Bond thing, and a little less of what I'm thinking in terms of here's this universe. Do what you want in it.
I'm not sure what they did formulaic with Tales of the Borderlands. Tales
No,
from the Borderlands.
I know, but it's just kind of like let's try this and let's try this and let's try this.
That
It's
game
like,
was nothing like
just...
a Wolf Among Us or The Walking Dead. I think they've been pretty good with telling original stories every time. I don't know what you're talking about with the
it's more that we know how a Bond is going to turn out. It might be original story. It might be an original story, but it's still going to have I to be honest, like these are 3 cool. I'd want them to do.
Then what's the
these.
point? What's the point of watching a Bond film? You go to see it to see what happens and see all the action and maybe.
But the point of the Telltale game is choice,
that's the point.
isn't it? Is a choose your own adventure.
You're saying that Telltale have to be like the Bond films. They can't tell an original story and have.
I'm not saying they can't. I just say it won't be anything different from what they've already done, which is like, oh, this is our version of James Bond. Oh, this is our version of a Batman. Oh, this is our version of this person. I find the Telltale games are always much more effective when they're set in the same universe, but with an original cast of characters, just like The Walking Dead, just like. I can't think of any others.
I mean, The Walking Dead is their flagship show for that.
Yeah, it's their flagship
for that reason. Like,
I don't get. Are you saying that it shouldn't be? You shouldn't do James Bond because you know how it's going to turn out?
I'm just saying that
it should be like James Bond, or it shouldn't be like James.
There's a very specific kind of story that they're going to tell.
Because with
Bond is an established character that you have to have certain tropes. You have to have the gadgets. You have to have probably some woman he's going to molest. Like you have to have these things.
Do you not want to do that, Paddy? Do you not want to molest women?
I don't want to molest people. No. 2018, Jordan.
Before we get too far away into territory that we can't get back from, I'm gonna sort of give everyone a little bit of one last chance to convince everyone. So start with Paddy. Paddy, you have 10 seconds to convince me that this is the game that will be the best Telltale game ever.
It's Star Wars, man. They can just go out there and they can pick some really, really cool people and make their own story and give us a side of that world that we haven't seen, or build on a side of the world that we have seen but don't know very well. And it would just be crazy. It'd be great for the studio. It'd be great for me personally, and yeah, and maybe you, Al. Maybe even you.
Maybe me. Rob, I'll pass it on to you. Here's your 10 seconds to convince me.
I think you should go for a Black Mirror because it's something new for like the studio, something they haven't tried before, where each individual episode is going to be a story, which means they can throw off the shackles, which means that the choices can actually have more of an impact to the end of each individual story, and well, for me, it's just instead of doing a big franchise, why not do something that's driven by really good stories rather than trying to hang on a franchise.
Jordy, your 10 seconds for James Bond.
I think with James Bond, they have the opportunity to have a really cool character study piece, and you don't even have to be James Bond. You can be like a sidekick to James Bond, who sort of just experiences his world, and it can be set in the original like time frame of it. It can be set during like World War II, so you can just change everybody's not opinions, but their assumptions of the game, and it can be a really cool story. And yeah, I think.
Okay, I mean,
It's a good point to end on.
I mean, there were three really good ideas when they came to him, and I think I didn't really have a favourite going into this. I didn't really think one would be better than the others. But I think quite quickly I had an idea of who I thought would probably be the better Telltale game. James Bond's got a good sort of premise, like the idea of trying to be a spy and having the choices of just deceiving people is a good idea, and kind of like giving that option of tell this lie, tell that lie to see how it works out. But I honestly don't think James Bond is the right franchise to explore a spy game in a Telltale world, because I mean the argument was put across quite well, that it has a beginning, it has an end, it has a formula that, I mean, essentially you'd be breaking what is James Bond to make a Telltale game. I mean, that's my opinion, and I judge that's what rules, and that is why I'm powerful. Yay, for once. But yeah, so I think James Bond it could be a great game, but I think out of the three, I don't think it quite matches up to the other two. Black Mirror, I mean, Rob went off with it initially, a great idea. It goes into the socially questionable grey areas, and it will be really interesting, especially from my perspective, to go into that and have your choices of what would you do in situations that are morally questionable, and your decisions and how they affect the end game, and having the episodic release of being a completely different story essentially each episode, and that you can wrap up in almost one playthrough each episode, and each decision you can see the effect it has quite quickly. I think that's a great idea. And Star Wars, obviously massive universe, so much potential to go into so many little stories that we don't see, and go into little villages and worlds that we don't know about, and run through a Telltale game there. I think isn't a great idea. But winner, I'm gonna have to go with Black Mirror. I think it's Star Wars. Yeah, it was very close. I think all three are great games, and would make some great Telltale games. But I love the idea of having that morally questionable input. Sort of each person will have to almost face questions that there is no right answer. Everything is either wrong or everything is either right, and picking it is just completely different. Because I mean, I've only seen one episode of Black Mirror, and I was like, oh damn, my mind, no. And I'd love to see that come into a Telltale franchise, because the storytelling and the decisions are what make the Telltale game Telltale, really. I think Star Wars, is a lot of potential, but there is also a lot of potential for them to do it wrong, and for there to be a lot of fuss and uproar about, oh, you didn't do it right, or this is technically not canon in this side of things. So I think out of the three, Black Mirror would definitely be best. So well done, Rob. Yay.
Applaud myself.
So that's where we're going to end the show. I mean, if you have a better game, or if you disagree with me, then do put it down in the comments. Do let us know. We always like to hear your opinions, and it always makes me feel good if you agree with me, or if you completely disagree with me. It always helps out the other bard saying, I was right, look at all this. So do let us know what you think. And if you want to see more of these, we have a lot more 8-bit debaters on the channel, so go to youtube.com/twistedbardgaming, or click the little bard down at the bottom, and go check out our videos. We have our One Life review series, where we try to get as far through a game in one life as possible, and if you want a bit of a shorter one, we've got the One Life mini-series. We have the other 8-bit debaters, we've got another 23 of these episodes, 24 I think. Yeah, we've got a lot more to go, so look back through all of those. We have our streams, and we have our features, which are just varied and wonderful. So yeah, go check them out. And if you if you do like them, if you do like us, like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And we have our social media channels, and our Discord server in the description. So if you want to follow us or join any of those, feel free. We love all of that, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. See ya.